Hello everybody, I am Baltmatrix, and today we are taking a look at Transformers Beast Changers. These sets were purchased over at Amazon.com. They are also currently available in most Walmarts. Now, these things are a little bit different, and you get a figure based on the movie. In this case, we have Optimus Primal, Bumblebee, and Arcee, and then they each come with an animal that then transforms into power armor. These are very similar to the Transformers Cyberverse sets that did the same thing, but instead of animals, they came with vehicles. You might remember a Bumblebee that had a battleship drop on his head, or an Optimus Prime with a jet, Megatron with a helicopter. Each set is $19.99 at your store of choice. Right now, they're only showing up on Amazon and in Targets. No, Walmart's, the other Target. Yeah, so let's go ahead and take a look at these figures up close and personal. First, we will take a look at Bumblebee and Snarl Saber. Now, Snarl Saber is this Black Panther-esque looking robot kitty thing, and it definitely has some Black Panther vibes from He-Man, though it's not that great. Specifically, I have an issue with the joints in the legs. They're not as bad as the White Wolf, but we'll talk about that one in a little bit. The overall posability of this figure doesn't exist. It just doesn't. And to do it, part of its transformation is you pull the tail off, or I should say lift the tail up, and then give it to Bumblebee to hold so that he can then stab things? Hit things? It's weird. The tail is supposed to be a sword or a whip. It's odd. It's just odd. And speaking of odd is Bumblebee. Of the three figures, this guy is the tallest, and it's okay painted, or paint-wise, but it just feels incredibly weird in terms of proportions. It's like the thighs and the knees are just way too long, and then the shins are too short, and I think that might just be an optical illusion because the knees are where the thighs end, and then the bottom of the knee to the foot is where the shin is, and that's just throwing off my perspective, maybe? In terms of posability, head does not move, arm is on a ball joint, there is no torso articulation, but legs can kick forward and back and out, and there is a bend at the knee, but that's more for the transformation than anything else, and there is toe articulation, again, for the transformation. Now, speaking of the transformation, have you seen a movie Bumblebee in the last couple of years? Yeah, that's the transformation. Start off with taking the feet and fold them up into the bottom of the legs, and I moved that one way too far, and peg them together. Come to the chest and flip the chest up over the head, and then you could drop the roof into place. Take the arms, fold them up. Actually, before you fold the arms up, leave the arms out and flip the feet or the legs over and tuck the feet underneath the roof, and then put the arms in place, like so. And we end up with his classic Camaro. But the thing I like about this is because of the holes that are here on the hood, that makes me think that they're like some kind of smokestacks or something. So blowing out like hot air from the engine. I don't know why I like that. It's just silly. The overall aesthetic of the Camaro is fine. It's fine. It is kind of small, though. Here are some more modern deluxe class figures. We've got Legacy Skids and then Kingdom Sunstreaker. I don't remember. There are so many sublines at this point I can't keep track anymore. Yeah, it's a lot smaller. It's almost like it's supposed to be more scaled towards Legends class figures. I mean, look at that. These are Legends Outback and Beachcomber, and these are guys from several years ago. But look at this. I mean, this is almost the same size as these two guys. All right, let's get Bumblebee back into robot mode so that you could better see how so that I can show you how the gimmick here works. I'm not going to say I like the gimmick, but I get the gimmick. It's not great. All right, let's get Bumblebee stood up, and let's get the kitty. And the first thing we're going to do is fold up the kitty legs, and just get them all the way folded up. And then find these pegs and drop the kitty onto Bumblebee in those peg holes by the head. And the way you want to do this for this character, for Bumblebee, is to have the beast head going to the right of the figure, or to the figure's right. But before we do that, wiggle the head and pop off the top of his skull, and then we can drop it down And unlike the figures from Cyberverse, this doesn't auto-transform when you peg it into place. You have to unpeg the belly of the beast, pull this handle down, and then snap it into place. And there we go. The only other thing we need to do is attach the kitty head to the hand and give him his whip sword. And there we go. We've got Bumblebee in beast mode. I do like the coloring. I think the blackish purple combined with the yellow works well. The head sculpt of the masked mode is a little weird. It more reminds me of a combination between movie Bumblebee, you know, the Bumblebee movie look, and something from animated. I don't remember what, but it looks like just a giant head sculpt from animated. It's just huge, and it's not matching in color with the rest of B. But overall, it's okay. It's just really top-heavy, and good luck trying to get poses out of this. That's all you could do. Now, the other thing you could do is take the beast head that has a gun on it and fold it forward and go pew, 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 pew. So, yeah, we've got Bumblebee out of the way. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Now, what's not fine is Arcee and Silverfang. Arcee itself is okay. The coloring works well, the red, the white, and the silver, and the head sculpt. The head sculpt's actually pretty good. I do actually like that head sculpt quite a bit. It's not exactly Arcee, but it's close enough. But the whole body doesn't feel right. This feels like a different character that had Arcee's head slapped on it. In fact, I don't know why, but this makes me think of a GoBot for some reason. I wish I could tell you why I think that, but it just makes me think of a GoBot. I don't know why. Arcee's posability is not that bad. Head is on a ball joint in the shoulder, no elbow articulation. Legs are on ball joints, can do the full splits, and then bends at the knee are just over 90 degrees. Silverfang, on the other hand, is just an absolute mess. The overall aesthetic of the figure is good. It actually looks pretty good. I like the whole wolf aesthetic, and I think it pulls it off well. The problem is the legs, especially the front legs. There's no friction on these pins, like zero. So it can't even hold the figure up, or barely holds it up. But I mean, if I just put it down, it falls over. The rear legs, they suffer from the same issue, but it's not as bad. If I could decide to keep the figure, I might just hit it with some super glue and see if that, fixes it. But yeah. Now, Arcee. Her transformation sucks. And what you end up with for the vehicle mode is bad. It's just bad. So to start off with, take the head, turn it around 180 degrees, and then fold it up. And oh yeah, her head, mostly hollow. Cast in, I think, red plastic too. Fold that down. Now that we've got the head folded up, turn the figure to its left, 90 degrees, so that it's pointing to the left. Come to the right leg, pull it out, turn it 90 degrees so that the actual foot and knee are pointing upwards, and then fold the knee or the leg up, and there's this little indentation right where the tip of my finger is, and there's a little peg, and that will snap into place. It doesn't hold in there great, but it does technically go in there. Turn the figure around and grab the other leg, and then turn the bottom part of the leg and point it to the back of the other wheel. And then take the entire torso section and fold it down, and that will flip up the hips like this. So you get it kind of looking like this, which we're not quite there yet. Take the arms and pull them out like that, and then fold them in to behind the torso thusly. Now what the directions say next is to take the one wheel that will become the rear wheel, and there are these tabs on the back of the knee, and those are supposed to tab into the wrists, or the top of the wrists. But for the life of me, I could get them in, but it requires a lot of force, and I feel like I'm going to break the damn thing. You can get them in there. I suggest maybe shaving down with a little bit of sandpaper those tabs, just a smidge, like a millimeter or so, just to make that connection into those wrists a little less tenuous and a little less breakable. Next, come down to the other leg, fold out the wheel all the way, and then you're supposed to collapse the leg up into the body, and this little piece that's sticking off the side is supposed to peg into this little peg area that's off the hips. And once you get everything lined up, it does eventually go into place. And then the very tips of the fingers are supposed to rest or peg into, there are little divots on the back of the knee. They're supposed to go in there, but they don't really. They just kind of sit there if you're lucky. And that's the vehicle mode. This is two figures now where Arcee has gotten the short end of the stick. Her core class figure was pretty bad, and now we've got this figure. This is like the just loose approximation of a motorcycle. It's not good, and it does not stand up whatsoever. Can it doot-de-doo? Yes, it can doot-de-doo, but you gotta hold it. Otherwise, it's going to go floppity-flop. This is just bad. This is just stupid. All right, enough of me kvetching and moaning. Let's get it back into robot mode so we can show off the combined monster mode? I don't know. Battle Charger Monkey. Okay, well, we'll be talking about the monkey here in a second. Anyway, so there we go. And we're going to grab Silverfang and fold up its arms, or I'm sorry, fold up its legs, lift up its tail like Bumblebee, rip off the top of its head, and then do the same thing. Make sure that the round part is pointing towards the front of the figure, and in Arcee's case, we want the wolf head pointing off to the left-hand side. Reach on up top, flip down this section, and that will auto-transform the entire bit. Fold that in, flip the gun component up, and then just start arming her up. Give her a wolf head gauntlet, and a wolf tail sword, and we are done. And the mode we end up with, it's fine. It's just fine. It's not my cup of tea. This is for kids. It's fine, Balt. It'll be okay. Arcee's not gonna hurt you much. I do like the chest aesthetic, and I do like the head sculpt. The head sculpt looks really cool, especially with the little paws coming around to flank the sides of her cheeks. That's neat. I like that quite a bit. But the overall aesthetic for the whole thing is just it's not doing it for me. But again, these are for kids. I can't judge them too harsh. The last set we're going to take a look at today is Optimus Primal with Skull Cruncher. Now, I have got to give Hasbro credit. They did an absolutely wonderful thing here where we've got Optimus Primal in gorilla mode, with the original idea for Megatron in the Beast Wars toy line. He was a crocodile. Optimus Primal has the most paint of any Optimus Primal figure that I've gotten a hold of so far. The blue on the chest works well. The brown back is weird, but it's okay. The only thing that I really hate about this figure is the lack of posability in the arms. I mean, they're so hollow, but just a little bit, like even a swivel would have been something. Otherwise, he's just like, hug me. The overall aesthetic of the figure, it's okay. Posability is, well, you just saw it. Ball joint in the shoulder, ball joint in the hip, bend at the knee, and then there is articulation forward for the gorilla mode. So, gorilla mode. Collapse the knees like that, like he's going to squat down for a poo, and then grab the head, flip that down, turn the entire chest around 180 degrees, fold it up, put the arms down, fold the feet forward, and then bring the legs up, and there we go. Gorilla Mode Prime. That's actually better transformation than the other Beast Changer Weaponizer, where the Gorilla Mode actually works. It actually does what a gorilla does, leaning over, as opposed to If he leans over, he's just looking at the ground. There's hit or posability, not posability, but it's molded in the fact that he's supposed to look forward. All right, now that we've taken a look at the transformation, let's get him back into robot mode real quick, and then we'll add the crocodile. All right, there we go. We're done. So, Croc, same thing. Grab the head and rip it off. So, nothing else different. Find the circle, put that to the front, peg that in, and it looks like he is attempting to be Arnold Rimmer, but incredibly messing it up. So, next, grab the legs and flip them up so they're just pointing up like that. And then, according to the directions, you're supposed to grab both of these sides and fold them down, but it's easier to just flip up the center section, fold it down like the others, and then put it down like that. And then we can grab the tail and pull that off and give it to him as a sword. And that's something that happens routinely with the crocodile. So, popping it back on, I think this actually looks pretty good compared to the other two. I like this one better. It just works for me better. And I guess part of the reason is because of that connection to the original Beast Wars idea of the Megatron crocodile. Now, the reason that mine popped off like that is because of two reasons. Well, two reasons, actually. One, the springs on mine seem to be much, much tighter or wound differently than Bumblebee or Arcee. And the other reason is I didn't have the chest pushed all the way down. These two pieces are held together in place by these two little plastic nubs. They're just physically holding them in place. So, yeah, problems can happen if you don't have the chest all the way down. I gotta say, loving the head sculpt. I really like that head sculpt. It kind of reminds me of, oh, actually, I don't know what it reminds me of. I get a G.I. Joe vibe, Cobra Law vibe from it. I don't know. Let me know what you think it reminds you. Let me know what you think it looks like down in the comments. Now that we've taken a look at all three, what are we talking about in terms of size now that they have the armor added on? Well, here is Deluxe Class Magnificus. Here is Voyager Class Tarn, Studio Series 100 Bumblebee, the Battle Changer Weaponizer Optimus Primal in Gorilla Mode, and one of the Studio Series Primes. I don't remember which one that is. So as you can see, they kind of scale somewhere between a Deluxe and a Voyager with the armor on. Overall, I'm not the biggest fan of these things. They're not awful, but they're not that much fun, especially for someone like me. Now, for a kid who these are actually aimed at, these might be pretty cool. But nothing like this ever shows up in the movie, I don't think. We'll have to wait and see, because the Spark armor in Cyberverse did show up, but it was just Prime and Megatron, and for like one episode. These, I don't know, we'll have to just wait and see. If I had to recommend one, I would recommend Primal with Skullcruncher. That's my favorite of the three. The other two, you could take them or leave them. Arcee is just a freaking mess, though, and Bumblebee is just, well, it's a Bumblebee, so what are you gonna do? So, folks, let me know what you think of these three down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video review. As always, I have been Baltmatrix, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.